What's up, everybody? Bobby Foster here. Right now, we're back with another episode of Foster the Conversation. We got Blessing with us again here today. And the reason why I invited Blessing today is I needed a Barb to talk to about this conversation. And the conversation I want to have, is there's a lot of Doja and Nicki comparisons. A lot of Doja and Nicki comparisons going on.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, to me, seem warranted. Some of them don't. And I'm curious on your perspective on just all of these comparisons. I just want to see where you are, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. Oh, so I'll open. I think just first things first, just to establish, Nicki Minaj is a powerhouse artist, right? So she's one of a kind. So I feel like there's always been this thirst amongst the Barbs or fans of Nicki Minaj and the entire industry to be like, okay, so who's going to be able to do that again? Like, is anyone going to be able to do that again?
Mm-hmm.
So with Doja, I think the reason why she's so interesting is she has that dynamic range, and people can see her ability to do Nicki-like things.
Okay.
So, So from that position, I've always seen Doja put in comparison to Nicki for that reason. I think the thing with Doja that makes it, really difficult to say like it's just pure inspo is the fact that the look is exactly the same in a lot of the like circumstances. Like it's actually say like if you didn't know Nicki Minaj and you saw Doja for the first time, you might think Doja started certain things. And I think that's where fans are like, divided. People were like, okay, you need to say that when you're paying homage, you're paying homage. And then if it's imitation, it like needs to be called out. I would say in a nutshell, my view on all of it, I'm really undecided. And I know that's unhelpful. I know it's unhelpful.
No, I mean, that's fine. That could breed a good conversation.
But I think the reason I can't come to a decision on it about whether it's imitation, whether it's, homage, is because Doja has said herself she's not going to give us that personal inner workings of a Mala content. So because I'm never going to know, like, where she really comes from, I don't feel like I can say with force, like, she's copying Nicki Minaj.
Okay, here's my thing. I see that's the word that bothers me, the copying part. That's the word that bothers me personally, because I feel like you see this in hip hop a lot. Like, for example, Kendrick, right? Kendrick is clearly inspired by Tupac, imitates Tupac sometimes, homages Tupac sometimes. But for him, it's almost like revered. It's like he's adding to the legacy, right?
Yeah.
Where in this Doja conversation, whether it's imitation, homage, whatever, it's like she's getting demonized for it, being claimed like unoriginal and things like that. And I don't get that, because usually I feel like it goes the other way. You know what I'm saying? Like when
it's seen as like a high form of art because they're showing. Yeah, I see
like
that.
when Nicki did like Barbie Dreams, right? No one's like, oh, she's copying Biggie. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like I don't get why
copying Kim. You did have the Lil Kim fans being like, "Oh, you're copying," and then we had to say,
That's true. That's true. That's a thing. Now, okay, I have to ask though, why is this? Is this kind of part of the how like only one female rapper can like be relevant or like at the top or whatever?
People, yeah.
Is that like why this is a thing though? Like, is this why we're having the conversation?
Yes, like we have talked about this so much because most people's knowledge and opinions of female rap is with respect, remedial. It's absolutely remedial. It really hasn't gone that far beyond those like tropes we have of women or of black women, especially of black women. No one expects anyone to take Nicki Minaj's art and create high artistic interpretation art from it, because people in the first place don't recognize Nicki Minaj as having high quality art
Ooh,
because of
okay.
all of the issues that people have, respecting Black
Interesting.
women's contributions to hip hop. The reason why when Kendrick does that with Park, everyone says, wow, oh my God,
It's
is
because Pac
because
already gets
the
acknowledged.
source material, exactly. But we're
Ah,
still living in a world where people think Safari wrote for Nicki the Minaj. Like,
yes, I
we're
get it.
still living in that reality. So it's not a surprise to me that people don't run, because even amongst people who call themselves fans of Nicki Minaj, you'll say to them, like, I understand that Nicki Minaj's music has moved us all, like, personally, and we've all got our own stories, but just for the sake of quality artistic work, do
Hmm.
you value what she's put out? Like, in relation to other music, other
Yeah,
artists, like, do you actually see Nicki Minaj as part of a hip hop canon? A lot of people
that
don't
makes a lot of sense.
necessarily like do that. So that's why they're not able, unless it's something as obvious as Barbie Dreams, which gets like slapped in their face. It still
Hmm.
takes Nicki going on like Funk Flex and DJ Clue's show as well to explain the Biggie reference. She
Yeah.
has to like, Flex is joking with her about like, it's more about like what's it like to like have sex with Nicki Minaj than it is about the bars. And then you see
Hmm.
Nicki having to like remind him like, no, I'm a real rapper. Like, I'm shouting out the OGs. Nicki is still basically doing the same round she was doing as a rap rookie to show people that she's worthy of being in the
That's wild.
conversation,
Yeah, that's wild.
which is
I just
mad, which is
it
absolutely insane.
it really is, and I feel like what you're saying just makes I had a revelation. I mean, it makes so much sense, right? Like, because then when you have Doja or anybody else that's kind of drawing from Nicki's inspiration, but she never got credited for it in the first place, then it can kind of come off
Exactly.
where like they're trying to like steal her shine kind of thing, because like it still hasn't been cemented.
Cemented.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it still hasn't been
Period.
cemented that that's Nikki's thing. Like, she was the original. Like, that's her, mark that she
And
had.
and
I
it's
feel like
and
that
it
makes a lot of
takes
sense.
and it takes the like psychotic barbs like myself to be like, excuse me, you know, let me
Yeah,
give you the facts. And
I feel
once
like.
you lay
Oh,
it
go ahead. Sorry.
out, people's opinions or what they're saying seem they can get much more informed. But you were saying?
Yeah, you know, I I'm just sitting here thinking like there's a lot of talk around, because you were just like saying, it takes a barb. I feel like there's a lot of talk around like why the barbs are so defensive. And like for people that don't know, I feel like it stems back to that as well. Just kind of like a lot of Nikki's career skills, all these kind of things constantly being overlooked. I feel like that's where a lot of the
But used every single day and in
yeah, yeah,
every
yeah,
marketing and PR meeting, every agenda item is underscored with the they want to do a Nikki.
yeah,
Everyone wants to do what Nikki does, but they don't want to credit her for what she does. So men and women in the rap industry are, taking from Nikki, and it's like, I don't understand. Why can Lil Wayne be praised, Drake be praised, Cole be praised, Kendrick be praised,
yeah.
everyone be praised, but Nicki Minaj,
So,
like what?
so do you feel like when Doja does draw inspiration and put something out. And I mean, she does say like, "Oh yeah, like
It's not really
Nikki's the
Doja's
queen," all this kind of
fault.
stuff.
Like,
Do you feel like that helps or hurts Nikki's legacy?
I think in the overall grand scheme of time and history, this will be excellent. Like, this will be an excellent like primary reference we'll draw to show like, and this was when Nicki's brand was used in this way. Like, I
Okay,
feel like we'll be
okay,
able to do that. But right now it's awkward because the very same industry that's gassing up Doja, like, just to put my lawyer head on, the same industry that's gassing up Doja It's the same industry that tried to sabotage Nicki Minaj. What is the difference between these two women? One of them is not in the 360. One of them is. So the industry feels collective ownership over one of them. And it's aware that they do not run, but they are just, parties to the legacy and the impact of the other one. It's not to say that either of these women are not A1 top notch. It's just to say, in the eyes of the market machine, Nicki Minaj is not a commodity they can control. Nicki is in and of herself. And so because of that, Nicki doesn't get the flowers. She doesn't get let in. But then the girls who the industry feels like, oh, you'll listen to us. Like, you'll do what we want if you want those awards and if you want those covers and if you want that placement, you'll behave accordingly. We can eat off you, so we'll give you your radio. And I feel like Doja that's happening to her, but I don't think Doja is industry like that. I think she's really, really good. Yeah. And she's going to continue to be good for the end of time, point blank, period. But I think she's in the machine, but I don't necessarily think she's of the machine. And I think that in the grand scheme of things, we should look at Doja and be like, you know what? For her to be doing that from inside, and I'm sure people would prefer she wouldn't do that. There's plenty of people who wouldn't mind if collective consciousness thought that she originated the stuff that she's doing, because it fits into the agenda of erasing Nicki Minaj and adding more to the industry's hand. But Doja's literally inside the walls, being like, no, Nicki, period. It's all Nicki. It's all Nicki. Nicki Minaj. And that's going to prove good for us in the long run.
What I'm kind of hearing is a real frustration and anger with the industry and kind of like societal impacts that are dismissing and putting down Nicki's career. And in that narrative, Doja's kind of stuck like in this pull of like every time she does draw inspiration but doesn't like directly say it, and then she gets credited for it, then she gets put in this really, because like obviously Doja can't control that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the fans putting things on her. And so, because like no one else, like majority of artists, when they draw inspiration from somebody or whatever, it's never really directly said. Like it's kind of just like analyzed and dissected as such. Like they never really come out and say it. So, but there is this level of like, man, like there's like an extra kind of level of responsibility almost, because Doja also sees her as like her idol and mentor kind of. That's a hard place to be in. That's a hard place to be in.
But that is exactly why the Bobs are the way they are over girls that want to use Nicki's brand. Because look at the setup that Doja's got, right? She is outselling everybody and their mother. She's everywhere. Her music is in the streets. It's disseminated everywhere. Girls who had a fraction of that bit the bait and stopped being responsible around their role of furthering Nicki Minaj's legacy. Like girls with a fraction of what Doja has got turned on the queen. Then when it comes time that they want to be involved in real rap conversations, now all of a sudden they want to be a Bob again, because they realize they click and they realize that, oh my God, disrespecting Nicki Minaj doesn't make me a better rap. It doesn't give me any better hip hop standing. Actually, when you take a step back, it makes me look like an idiot, because she's the most talented out. So then you see people switching once they want to be a rapper. You'll see they start talking about, oh, they're writing their own bars. Oh, they're this. Oh, they're that. And it's like, hold on 1 second. You had a responsibility. as someone of influence in the hip hop space, as a woman, we all have a responsibility to protect Nicki's legacy. That's why the Barbs are the way they are, because we recognize that. I recognize that. I recognize that even just last night, I went to a Drake Take Care album listening party. It was like a thing. And they just skipped Make Me Proud. They just didn't play Make Me Proud. And then at the end, I said, like, hey, he was like, oh, yeah, I just forgot it. I'm like, forgot it? Like, you just forgot it. Like,
yeah.
It happens all the time. I go to the club, DJ skip Nicki Minaj's song. They skip her verse. Like, and it's just like, why are you? So I recognize like that I feel like I have a duty and responsibility because Nicki's legacy is not going to be preserved unless we're active about preserving it. History and time will allow people to see it for what it is and understand that there was like a bit of a deficit in collective consciousness around Black women's contributions to hip hop. You know, I feel like we'll get there eventually. But until then, I'm sorry, like Doja's doing very well. She's doing the best she can from where she can do it. But it's on the rest of us, you know, educate yourself. You know, educate yourself out of just assuming that hip hop's going to give you the best of everyone. Like, educate yourself into understanding that, like you do on your channel, you know, you need to do deep dives. You need to go listen to the material. The amount of men I have heard talk smack about Nicki Minaj. Oh, yeah, I don't listen to Nicki Minaj. And I'll say, okay, why? But oh, I don't like Starships. And I'll be like, do you realize that song was released 12 years ago?
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, yeah, I just haven't even listened to her stuff. And I'm like, just go listen to any one of her projects. Then they'll listen, they'll come back and start dissecting and analyzing stuff to me and being like, oh, yeah, like, I can't believe she did. I'm like, that's all it takes.
I feel like I totally get what you're saying. I totally get how, like, the invalidation of her success and her career and her talent is leading to kind of all of these conversations and the importance of getting that out there and the defensiveness and the arguments, all that kind of stuff. I get that. I guess my question is like, it's 2022. You do have an influx of female rappers coming up, right? Do you feel like the constant comparisons, because like I said, some of them are obviously warranted. I feel like sometimes it's a reach, sometimes it's not really warranted. But do you feel like the constant comparisons help or hurt female rap in general?
I think it depends on what angle you want to look at things.
Okay.
If we look at things from a social media metrics angle, it's groovy. Like, the more people talk about female rappers in any degree, we're good. That means people are going to get budgets, are going to get opened up, deals are going to get signed. Yeah. However, if you look at it on the other side, that's sort of like socially responsible. What are we doing for the world and each other and for the culture? No, it's bloody terrible, because it means that it doesn't help our appreciation of, you know, women and Black women's contributions to hip hop evolve beyond like gossip and tea.
Yeah.
And it's very important that we remember that, like, no, these are women, and if they're writing, you know, writing their lived experiences, sharing themselves, and it's important to listen to women, period. I think that's what's lost in the comparison conversation. We forget that, like, wait, hold on, women's voices are important, period. Yeah. Like, we get so focused on like the scraps we can have between them, and it's frustrating to me, because I think that it needs women in hip hop, or like women who are putting out music, to feel like they're not going to get listened to unless they're doing something scandalous, which is a shame.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with that. I feel like the constant level of comparisons doesn't let us actually appreciate the artists for what they are bringing to the table, right? So I feel like my question to you then would be, what would be the balance, or what way do you feel like we can go about celebrating, and because like you're saying, it does always get overlooked, so kind of like acknowledging Nicki's impact, since that's how we feel like a lot of these conversations are even brought up, because like the lack of that acknowledgement. So like acknowledging Nicki's success, but then also celebrating, like newcomers without the like constant comparisons. Like, how do you feel like people can go about doing that so like everybody gets celebrated in that context?
It's gonna sound a little bit oversimple. Sorry, I had to hold my phone to charge it.
Okay.
But I would say just listening to women and just wanting to listen to women. Like
Okay.
I know that seems like a very broad thing, but I've really come to notice even when I'm in like creative spaces and stuff like that, that a lot of not just men, everyone, all of us, we struggle sometimes to like actually allow women to just hold space. Like not
Okay.
without correcting them or, like pushing our own energy onto them, like whether we think they're beautiful or not, whether we think they're hot or not, like whether we have to express that. Just like being comfortable in the presence of a woman. And I feel like that's something that I've learned because I've, I've worked in law, I'm working in law, and I also have been like a performing artist. I am very used to holding space, and I know how it makes me feel when I know that I'm being listened to. It brings
Mm-hmm.
out the best in me. It can bring out my best ideas. It can inspire people. It can like heal people. And that's what we could all be like benefiting from women in hip hop if we just allow more sort of like time, patience, and grace to just be comfortable with women holding space. Like, listen to rap projects by women in hip hop with no male features. Why not? Like, why not? Just listen to it from start to finish.
Mm.
Like, why not? Like, when's the last time a lot of people listen to something other than a hot, trendy single from a female rapper with a video and a hook and like a little baby or a tiger feature? Like, when did
Mm-hmm.
you listen? When did you just listen? And I say like a rap album because we're talking about hip hop, right? So that's
Yeah.
the thing that we do as hip hop heads. And I just think about that sometimes. Like when was the last time people did that? And I think if we
That's a
did that
good
more,
question.
and if we did that more, and if women rappers knew like people are going to listen to this from start to finish, I think we just very well may start to get very surprised by the range and the depth that we start to see because we communicate as consumers. You know what, ladies? We're just here to listen. Whatever it is you want to talk about, the same way we do
Mm.
with the men in hip hop. We don't bother them about what the subject matter is.
Damn.
We just say, hey, Kendrick, when you drop, we're here to listen. Hey, Cole, when you drop, we're here to listen. We let Drake do a whole album of, I don't know what Certified Lover Boy was about, but we'll let Drake drop a whole album about whatever he wants to do because they know that we'll listen. And you can see it in the production choices, the
Yeah.
skits, the interludes. They know, but I don't feel like women rappers feel so confident.
Interesting.
That's why they go so hard and so hot with whatever's the most clickbaity
Yeah.
because they don't know how much of your time they're actually going to get.
Wow. Wow. Yo, you've had like 10 microphone drop moments, by the way. I'm dead. Like, I feel like I'm glad you went there, because usually these arguments about, you know, all this kind of music stuff we're talking about usually does have root in something way deeper, usually. And everything you were just saying about society holding space for women, and like you said, it was at the beginning, you're like, this is gonna sound simple. Well, not to me, that was deep. Like, that was simple but deep. Like, I was kind of, while you were talking, I was like even kind of taking inventory on myself, right? Because like, I feel like in these conversations, like when you are talking, like as a man, I feel like I gotta reflect on, what you're saying. Like, am I
I appreciate that. I really
yeah, like,
appreciate
am I
that.
a part of that issue, right? And I was thinking about it, and I feel like I am kind of critical. I feel like when it comes to what women are rapping about, to be honest with you, I feel like I definitely have that level of criticism. And I didn't see that as anything like specific towards female rappers, but like as you were talking, I was like, damn, I think I have some internalized something there, because like I'm just being honest. And I
I
hope
love that though. I really
I
appreciate that, and I hope
I
people
hope
are
that
inspired
honesty
by that.
can. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just praising you. Carry on.
Oh, okay. Thank you. But no, I hope that, I don't know, me being honest about that, other people will take inventory and kind of like be real with themselves and ask themselves like, okay, am I doing that? Because I feel like holding space for people is super, super important. And I never saw how a lot of these conversations stem from not holding space for women in hip hop, which honestly just stems from not holding space for women, period. Right.
Period.
And yeah, that was, man, I, I feel like we kind of got to the root of where
That's what I
all the
like to do.
comparisons were coming from and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. That's really where it comes from, right? Because if we were holding space, yeah, we wouldn't be so critical. We wouldn't necessarily have to defend basically where things are coming from and their origin and who did it and who didn't do it. It's almost like a level of survival, in a sense, like creative survival in a way, like on Nicki's part, right? It's like
Mm-hmm.
she's fighting for her art to literally live through time, because it kind of keeps
Amen.
getting
And you've
taken
nailed it.
away.
That's why I
And
tweeted today, with Nicki
whew,
selling out Wireless's Sunday show. I said, I hope Nicki Minaj knows her brand is good. Like, your brand is good, babe.
yeah,
Not even the people that the industry paid for can outsell you, hon. Your brand is good.
man,
Brand is good. No Grammys needed. No Grammys needed. She doesn't need a single daps from them. And I know it hurts her, because it would hurt me. It would hurt you. It
yeah,
would hurt anyone to put that much work in and know you impacted a whole culture and still get snub after snub after snub. You
for
may
sure.
worry, like, damn, is my art not going to live through time? That's why I love when when we have those opportunities to do things and show her, like, nah, Nick, it's good. Brand is still healthy. You're not going
Mm,
anywhere, because whether it's like me right now on this podcast with you, whether it's just like artists like Doja just doing what they do behind the scenes, like whatever it is that lets Nicki know that her art is valuable, will be
yeah.
important for women in hip hop in the long run. It absolutely will. Like, it will mean something that Nicki came out after 13 years out and sold out Wireless in London. Like,
Mm,
she just sold out London 13 years in, no industry support. She just did that. What's that going to mean for us in like 10 years? It's going to be mad.
facts.
It's
And
going to be
I feel
absolutely
like,
mad.
just to kind of highlight it, I feel like the important part with that is what you already said, like holding space for that impact, holding space for that moment. Because, like, even in the future, if we're still not holding space, then, it could still possibly be looked over in a sense. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I kind of just want, I don't know. I know we were planning on like a half-hour episode and we actually just hit that. And I feel
Boom.
like what we ended on, like, that's what people got to take away. That's what people got to hear. So,
Mm.
man, I just want to thank you for coming on, having this
Thank
conversation
you for
with me today,
having
because
me.
you were spitting facts. You made me have revelations and just
Because
connecting
you're
dots.
holding space for women. Look what happens. Good
Yeah.
things.
Well,
Good things.
I got love for you, and I'll
I
listen
love
to
you
you
too,
all day.
Bobs.
You know what I mean? And
No,
no,
you're the
I
truth.
really just, I'm grateful for you being on here. I always love our talks, and this one
I love our
especially.
chat.
This one hit home especially. I feel like it's going to hit home for a lot of people. So
I hope it does. And I just want to say
yeah,
before I go, like, just like to Doja, because I know she watches things and listens to things. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, you care to make sure that your words are being represented properly and you are being represented properly. And I just want to just show my respect to her and say that, you know, I know how easy it is to just fall back and let the industry do what it do. You'll still get paid, but you've, you know, chosen to make life that extra bit difficult for yourself by having integrity, and I appreciate the integrity that she has. And I think it does demonstrate integrity, her making sure she cites her homage and cites her inspiration. And to the Bobs and the fans of Nicki Minaj, you know, who do struggle with those comparisons and feel that frustration, you know, Doja can't be responsible for an entire industry and entire cultures, you know, like overlooking of Nicki Minaj. We as just a collective hip hop community, we just have to work hard to just push back against that so that we can continue to have a thriving female rap culture for many, many decades to come.
another mic
Yeah.
drop. So yeah, y'all, if you like this episode, follow, subscribe wherever you listen to, leave a comment, leave a like. All of Blessings info is also going to be in the description and comments, so go keep up with what she's doing. And yeah, y'all, we definitely fostered this conversation. So
Boom. Thank you for having
until next
me.
time, y'all, we'll see you.